Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to talk about SDK. So one of the topics we have, which is over here as part of your program, is using SDK as well. Now, we are going to quickly see a demo here towards your SDK. So this is the API's SDK CLI. So we've completed the CLI, so it's time for us to explore SDK. Again, this is not going to be part of your examination, so you can very well skip this. I'm just going to show you one simple SDK-oriented stuff over here, which you can use it on your AWS. Now, to remember that, okay, let me log in again, one second. So I've just logged into the system. So here we're going to talk about SDK. So I'm going to use one language over here, which is frequently used, which is Python. So I'm going to do the hands-on session using Python. So for that, you need to make sure that you have Python installed on your system. So do a sudo yum. Sorry, there's a lag in the system. Sudo yum install Python 3-y to see if it picks it up. Python 3 is already installed. So let's install Python pip-y. So Python pip is required so that you can install the Boto 3. Boto 3 is your Python driver for your SDK kit, which is basically for your AWS SDK configuration. So now you can use the pip3 command over here, and then you can install Boto 3. Now this is basically your Python configuration for your your AWS. So this will help you connect to AWS and run SDK from Boto. So this is, you can see that over here, it is installing that particular Boto 3.1 version. I'm sorry, Boto 3 1.35 version, Boto Core, and also it is installing S3 transfer. So now this is going to ensure that you have the SDK over here. So now when you run any Python commands or Python scripts, which is going to have AWS call on it, this is going to actually get the items from AWS from the backend. Now previously we have configured AWS, so you can just check if it is still there. Just did S3, so it's still connected with the AWS service. Now you have an alternative way as well, so you can just open this file, which is in your home folder called AWS folder, and in this you have a file called credentials. So you can actually save your credentials over here. Now you can look at that. The credential is actually saved over here. That's how you logged in. So even before you do this, you can put this credentials right there, and then you can access it. So you don't have to run AWS config with the credential details there. So now that you have put the credentials there, and it is there by default, so you don't really have to worry about it. Now I will create a file over here, which is a Python file. And this Python file will list the S3 buckets. So now this Python file, we will copy paste the code, which I'll put it out there for you. So this is a Python configuration where you are importing Boto 3, which is your SDK, software development kit, for which uses AWS on the background. Here, create an S3 client, which is basically your S3 bucket. And here, this response is like S3 list bucket response. And then here we are printing value saying existing S3 bucket, and it is printing one by one buckets, which is part of your response over here. So let's just save and quit this file, and then let's run Python. And then you can actually run the Python 3, which is the one which is installed with the PUI. And it has actually shown you the output over here. So existing buckets, you have 3 buckets. So this is basically, running this through an SDK, software development kit. So this is another method of accessing your existing, infrastructure in your AWS. So we have spoken about the, management console, management console. We have spoken about CLI. We have spoken about the using Python through SDK as well. Now, do remember that you don't have to run AWS config. So if you're connecting with a new session, you really don't have to run AWS config over here in this scenario, because you will be actually loading the username and password, key ID and key access code directly on the file which I mentioned earlier. So this file will actually pick it up. So you don't really have to run the AWS config in this scenario. And this Python file will execute because it will go to Boto. Boto will go to the, this particular credential files, and then connect to whatever the account it is mapped to. And then it will execute the logic within the Python script. So this is how it basically works. Thank you again for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.